flying the DJI Neo with the RCN2 controller. The return to home capabilities, is it any good? Let's do this. So hello and welcome once again to the channel on this very fine day in the UK at the moment, although we forecast lots of thunderstorms and rain for the next week. Typical UK weather. However, on with the video, and today's video is about the Neo and how good it is on return to home when flying with the RCN2 controller or the RC2 controller. Now, as you know, the Neo doesn't have any return to home when you're using it on Wi-Fi. What I mean by that is using your mobile phone, and the reason it doesn't have any return to home, it only has a 50-meter maximum distance that you can fly from. It doesn't recognize any home points, so there is that to be aware of when you're flying with your mobile phone. Also, on palm takeoff, it doesn't have no return to home neither, but it shouldn't do. It's a fun selfie drone. That's what I call it, a fun selfie drone. However, you can, as I've just said, use the RC2 controllers or the RCN2 controller or the N3 if you've got one of those with the drone as well. You can use return to home function on that, and that's what the test is all about, to see how accurate it is. So I took the Neo out and I took the good old faithful, remember this guy, the Mini 2. I took that one out as well as a bit of a comparison between the two to see what it was like on the return to home. And the reason I chose these two was the fact that none of them has precision landing. So with that in mind, I thought they would be ideal as a bit of a comparison. So the flying conditions today, as you can see on screen, 22-mile-an-hour gusts at 80 feet. So this is wind level 4, this one's wind level 5, and that's just on its limit. 18 to 20 mile an hour is level 4, but that's a constant wind, and we're talking about gusts, so it should cope with 22 mile an hour. So let's look into the video and see exactly how they both got on. Okay, you can see now the Mini 2's on the landing pad. I'm not going to fly out too far. It's a little bit windy today. Got a few gusts.
Take off. Home point up. Home point up. Home point updated.
Yeah. Since this last update, we've had one or two problems with flickering, as you saw that on the screen, and I'm sure DJI are aware of it. Okay, so and there's also a problem with the speed. We are flying in normal mode, as you can see there. That speed is ridiculously wrong, but it is a bug, and I'm only going to take it out to what, I don't know, probably 500 feet, and then we're just going to do a quick return to home test. It'd be nice if you could get that Mini 2 to fly at that kind of speed. Okay, there we go, 500 feet, that'll do.
Return to home.
Let's return it to home. It is rising. Quite high, 150 feet.
Landing.
And I won't be sending the Neo that high up because it is a little bit windy, but we all know how good these Mini 2s are. Let's have a look where we're at on the landing pad for reference. It's not looking too bad. Okay, let's have a look where we're at. It's saying it can't land for some reason. We'll just bring it straight down and see where we're at. Just off the landing pad. Okay, that's the Mini 2 done. I'm just going to switch over now to the Neo, and then we'll do the same test. It's okay, on with test 2, the DJI Neo. And you can see that, but it's actually sat on the mat. So we're just going to do exactly the same test.
Take off. Home point updated.
Strong wind warnings. I did expect that, although it's not actually blowing at this moment in time. But we're just going to take it out to, like I say, 500 feet, and we're just going to do a return to home test. Nothing special, wind warnings are gone. Surprisingly, how small it is. There we go. Okay, let's see.
Return to home.
We should get the AR, which we are doing now. It's saying strong wind warnings, but let's see how well it does. A few birds scattering around it. Oh dear. But it's not doing a bad job, to be fair. You see that tilt angle on the attitude indicator. It's up at 98 feet. It's struggling a little bit. However, it's making its way back. Oh, getting knocked about a bit with the wind just there. Come on, little man, let's have you down.
Landing.
You can see that on the camera. Just turn it round, it's absolutely miles out. But I think we've got to take the wind into consideration on that one. And bearing in mind it was up at 100 feet, I think what we'll do is we'll just do another short return to home test. Let's start him up.
Take off.
Let's knock that down. 50 feet.
Home point updated.
That's interesting, it won't go any lower than 50 feet. No, I'm not going to take it too high this time. Snip it out in sports mode. I mean, already strong wind warnings at 30 feet. So they're not the best of tools to be flying in winds with a wind level 4. Let's just do a quick one at that.
Return to home.
Just to see if it gets anywhere near the pad this time.
Landing.
a little bit better. I'll just move this out of the way. So as you saw in the video, the Mini 2, as always, it did a fantastic job, and it almost got on the landing pad. It was right on the corner. The Neo is a completely different story. As you saw, the first attempt, it was about 20 feet away, 20 feet off, and you saw how that attitude indicator, it was struggling with the wind gusts at 22 mile an hour. So my advice to you is don't trust it. Okay, it's as simple as that. Don't trust the return to home. If you think, oh, I've lost connection, it's going to come back to me. Yes, it might come back somewhere near you, but let's put it this way. If you was flying right at the side of a river, on a riverbank, and you took off at the side of you, it ain't going to hit that landing pad. So just be careful. The best thing to do, my advice, is if you have to use a return to home, once it's above you, the best thing to do is to cancel the return to home and fly it and land it manually. That way you know exactly where it's going to come down, and you can probably get it onto the landing pad. Another thing you can do is, if it really is windy and it does go into failsafe and it goes into return to home, so long as you keep that level down at 50 feet, which is the minimum that you can bring it down to, what I suggest you do is take control and fly it manually back to yourself and keep it at a lower height. I know there might be objects and trees in the way, but you have to use a little bit of common sense. If it's too windy, bring it down lower, fly it back manually. So just a word of warning, it's not very good on return to home, especially if there's a bit of a breeze about. Now these things, as you can see, they're not designed for heavy winds. You know, they weigh 135 grams, and it does get knocked about a little bit. So if you found this video useful and you got something out of it, don't forget, give us the old thumbs up. And if you're new around here, why don't you consider subscribing, dinging the dong, and all the rest of it that goes with it. And you might like to watch those couple of videos I've chosen for you over there, and if you do, I shall see you over there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.